Welcome to our studio, Susan Ryan. And this is your book, and the title is The 10% Project. Written by you?
Yes.
I don't know how much time you invest in this. Just give us an overview of this book.
It's basically a book that speaks about taking 10% of your spare time and investing that time in something that is important to you. And with that opens you up to new skills, new experiences, making new networks and new friends, and that unlocks opportunity for you. So it's basically giving yourself the permission to do something that is really important to you.
Something important to you. And the fruit of your endeavor is this book. So this means something important to you.
Yes.
Why is important to you?
So I think it's important to me because number one, actually, it's quite funny. The 10% Project book that you're holding was my 10% project that I was doing. So
Literally.
I did that on the side while I'm working a full-time job and raising a family and doing everything else that mums and employees do.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. But it was a friend of mine actually inspired me to write it and almost challenged me to. And I think there's a lot there that could help other people. So that's really what I'm hoping is that it helps somebody else maybe follow their dream and find something that makes them truly happy and energizes them and is passionate.
And nowadays, lots of, especially in Chinese culture, they call it multi/youth, meaning people can have multiple identities. Mm-hmm. They can be writers, they can be engineers, they can be singer at the same time. Then the problem is how you're going to allocate your time and energy into, right? Most of us, we work a full-time job or maybe multiple jobs. That's for money. We have to make money to sustain ourselves, support our family. But in the meantime, we feel this desire, right? We want to achieve something else, and those things pour you in. And so, what do you mean? Like you writing is your passion, or you want to just help people to be successful, or you just what exactly the passion
That's a
is?
great question.
Yeah.
I really enjoy writing, or I probably wouldn't have been able to write it. I wouldn't say that's my passion. I think my passion is probably trying to help people.
Try to help people.
And let people see opportunities that maybe they haven't seen themselves, or follow up on opportunities, or get the courage to just take that first step and start doing something that they really deeply care about.
We have this talk before the show. You said lots of those 10% projects actually makes you today, and it creates your what do you call it, fate, or even possible destiny, let's say.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Why would you feel that way? Like 10% create the opportunity and who you are today.
So when I look back over my career, because I was asked to give a presentation to a group of students, and they asked me to look back at my career path and how I got to where I am. And when I was specifically asked to do that, which is not something you normally do very often, when I look back, I realized that probably 90% of the big opportunities that I've had in my career were not because I did my day job really well, but because I did something else that people weren't expecting that gave me...
Is that still in the workplace?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So a lot of my original 10% projects, with the exception of this book, I did in the workplace. So I'd do my day job. I was doing my day job really well, and then something would come up, and I would think, oh, that sounds really fun. I'm going to do that. So it was always stuff that was fun that I wanted to do, but that's what ended up unlocking some opportunity that I never expected. And when I went back and I laid out my career, it was always these little projects that I did along the way that either connected me to the right person or gave me experience or gave me exposure or accomplished something that I didn't have any idea of at the time, but they ended up presenting an opportunity to me.
You mentioned that a job is where you were working in a library.
Yeah.
What exactly that situation, what that 10% project there?
Sure. So it was my first job actually I wasn't out of college. I'd taken a gap year. And so I just got a job in a local library.
You volunteer there?
No. I worked. So I was
Okay.
working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday kind of thing.
Full time.
And I was, checking out books and helping people find research and things. But on Tuesday, the library was closed to the public. And on that day, we would organise all the books on the shelves.
That's a tedious job.
It's the most boring thing you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So I really didn't like doing that very much.
Nobody likes that.
Imagine that. So one of the things that I did, which wasn't specifically related to it, but during the week after school, I really liked working with kids and I really liked doing graphics and all these kind of things. So I put together some programs for kids after school. So parents would bring their kids into the library after school. The kids had a great time. I'd do storytelling for them and puppet shows. So I was doing that. And then after about 3 months of doing that, I guess, one of the other branches of the library that was open on Tuesdays came to me and asked me if I would come and do that program at their library on a Tuesday.
Wow.
Which was phenomenal because I got to do more of what I loved. And it was on a Tuesday, so I had to miss shelf checking. I couldn't put the books in order anymore. So it was kind of a win-win. And then the skills I developed doing that, so working with the public, speaking to people, putting together little programs, putting together little events, actually gave me the skills and connection and the network I needed to get the next job, which was working as the public relations assistant at the same
Library
organisation.
system.
So at the council. So we had a local council. It was in Australia. So they had a public relations assistant job opening up, and I applied for it. But because I had done all these little things with the public and promoted it, and I'd gotten kids to come and done activities with them, they saw that as a core skill set that helped me get
For sure.
this next job.
For sure.
So again, it was something that wasn't in my job scope. It was
So nobody paid you for doing that, and you are not even requested to do that.
No.
You just step up, and you think it's the right thing to do. You love doing it, and you did it, and it drew people in, and other people saw, okay, this is good. Like let's just expand the program, and you suddenly became really hot.
yes.
I mean, hot means...
But it was, yes. Yeah, so it was something people wanted. So then that's, but it wasn't, I didn't have that as a plan. It was just like, oh, that sounds really fun. So it was my passion. It was something I loved doing. I got energy from it. Because of that, I was good at it, and they could see that I loved it. And that kind of following my passion led to all of these other opportunities that I never imagined at the time.
So I think by doing that, you kind of self-discovered yourself a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You knew, or you started to know yourself a little bit better. You probably, said to yourself, now it seems like I'm a good promoter. Maybe I'm good at public relationship. That's what you did in later life, right?
Yes.
You basically still on that PR domain. Is that true?
Yeah.
Tell me about your career.
So I started off, when I was at college as an undergrad, I was doing primary school teaching, which is probably why I gravitated towards working with the kids at the library. And then I got the job as PR assistant. And then it really is funny because I can play out my whole career, like I said, with 10% projects that I did that connected me to something else. So I was the PR assistant. I did some PR training on the side, a night course just to get the skills that I didn't have. Then I became PR officer. So after a couple of years, I took that job. And then my boss at the time was doing a fundraising event, and I offered
the most difficult thing to do.
And I offered to help her on it. So it was Ride for a Kid Who Can't. It was a bike riding fundraising thing I went to, and I said, look, I've been riding bikes and I've got friends that ride bikes. Why don't I do a little bike ride, that we can raise funds for you? So she said yes. I did that. It ended up getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it just so happened on the day when the bicycle race was done, which we ended up having 321 people riding in this bike riding thing. Her brother, who owned an advertising agency and a marketing agency, actually met me there, saw how I'd organised all this stuff, how I'd promoted it, again, using the skills that I'd been building up in all the past experiences that I had. And he offered me a job in marketing, in his marketing agency. So from there out, I kind of stayed in the marketing domain and really left the thought of being a primary school teacher kind of in the rearview mirror. And I've been in that marketing, public relations, advertising domain ever since.
Let me just divert the subject, maybe not at what you wanted, but
Sure.
About that marketing thing. There is a observation of mine. It's like I used not to think the marketing is done by just doing something seemingly irrelevant. Let's say you create a activity, just bike riding, but the purpose is raise fund for those special group of kids.
Yep.
To lots of people, they cannot connect the dots, right? Like, it's irrelevant, but it worked. It worked, and I look at this way. There's so many great marketing plans. They seemingly have no direct link to the mission they are doing. Even, let's say, Olympics, right? That's the biggest event on the earth. It creates so much revenues and the influence and all the opportunity for marketing. But it's not about marketing at all. It's about the essence of this. We want to see those stronger, talented people perform.
Yeah.
So tell me about your thinking about marketing thing. Why this phenomenon happened, just like what I said. Irrelevant thing, but linked together.
Ooh. In relation to the thing that I did, how that connected. So I think in terms of marketing, I mean, so in my mind, obviously I love marketing because that's one of my passions that I followed. But it really is, it's a very,
it's like basically just as long as you get attention or serve people's interest. So you draw people in. Let's say you draw the kids in. That's the first step of you getting to PR.
Yeah.
Then probably you did some work for Boeing and other company, right?
Yeah.
See, when they do advertisement, they never just simply say, see, our ticket is the cheapest or our seats is the most comfortable one. They always create something like cool, right? It's so make you feel like wanted, like you're traveling, you're seeing the world, you're meeting people, you actually actualize your dreams. That's what they market.
Certainly Boeing does. I think Boeing's a little different though because their marketing, they have kind of multiple audiences. So their main marketing channel has to be to the airlines because the airlines buy their planes. So they're not so much focusing on a cheap seat or that kind of thing because they're trying to sell the plane. So what they're trying to do, I imagine, is create more people wanting to travel, aspiring to see the world, aspiring to adventure, because the more people who want to travel, the more the airlines will need planes to fly them places.
Yes.
So the same thing about the bike race that I did. It was a bike ride, and it was very much tying the benefits of bike riders who love to be active anyway. Here's a way you can be active and you can help kids and feel great about it. It's a social event, and it had, a name, Cycle for a Kid Who Can't, and it was branded, and I got people in to help run the event because it was a 4-hour bike ride it ended up being. So I had drink stops along the way and a barbecue at the end. And
tons of work.
So, it ended up being a lot of work. But the cool thing is, because it was kind of a work-related kind of project, and that's what I love about doing them at work, actually. Generally, if you're passionate about something, you end up adding more value, as long as it's a value to the company. Like the children's story time was a value to the library. Doing the bike riding event was good PR in of itself for the council that I worked for at the time. So they gave me more and more time during my workday to make sure it worked well. So I got to do less of the boring stuff and more of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
And basically my career has kind of worked like that. I've seen something that I thought, oh, that would be fun, and I've gone and done that. It's been something I'm passionate about and I care about, so I do it really well. And as long as it's adding value to the company, they will continue to feed you time because they see that that's a good thing. And then ultimately sometimes your job ends up being that thing that you really wanted to do because it seemed really fun.
Right. Because I think 90% or maybe 100% when you just got the job description is just a foundation because they expect you to do this and you should meet their expectation.
Yes.
But then you probably don't think that's the best way to do it, right? Then probably not the most efficient way to do it. And then the 10% project mentality can kick in. It's like, okay, I will respect the rule. I respect the established culture and the process, procedure. But I'm still going to contribute a little bit of myself, like the way I see things and I do things.
Yep, 100%.
And even it fails, so what? It's just 10%. You'd still perform at 90%.
Yeah.
But what if it works? It would just gradually transform the thing. So it's actually... I regard that 10% as a redeeming power. It's like these things are pretty old, right? Old things need to be renewed, need to be updated. So let's start with that 10%. But how can we start it?
So I think, first of all, I would say if you're doing it at work, you have to have your core job done well first. That would be my absolute advice. Don't go out and do something extra if you haven't got all your job done.
Yeah.
But assuming you're doing the way I put it is, if you're doing a really, really good job
already,
doing a really, really, really good job doesn't really add a lot of value. You're better off taking that third really and doing something that gives you new skills, new experience, or a new network and adds value to the company. And that's the way I've always approached it. It's always been something I've done that would be really fun, that has been kind of adjacent but not in my core work statement. And that has inevitably opened opportunities for me because when you're excited about something, people can tell.
Oh, really?
And they naturally want to talk to you about it. I've been amazed at how people will help you if they know what you're really passionate about and what you really want to do. And it draws people into you. And I think that's probably one of the most rewarding things. And the thing that I realized when I looked back across my career was that I'd done this time and time and time again. And that was how I got the opportunity to do some really cool jobs and move countries and go from big companies to small companies. And just because I looked at opportunities, whereas I think some people tend to go, that's not my job. This is my job. Yeah. And people spend time like at the water cooler or having long lunch times or checking their emails. I mean, there are for a lot of people, there are some people obviously who are in very controlled work environments and they can't if you're working on a register or something.
Yeah, let's say Amazon packers.
Yeah,
right?
They aren't going to be able to. So there are obviously people who can and can't. But a lot of people who work in offices, there's time that they can probably eke out to do something beneficial to the company that's extra if they wanted to.
Yeah. I retract that Amazon workers. I think they will still have the room to improve their work flow.
For sure.
Definitely. Even, I mean, the first line workers, they can just suggest something with that 10% mentality. Yeah, you still have to do that thing. Definitely. Everybody can do it, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I used to always say before I met my husband, I was like, I don't care what somebody does as long as they're passionate about it. You know, they can flip burgers, but they better want to be the best burger flipper that there's ever been, because I don't want someone who just doesn't care.
That's so cool. Actually, I do think that there's somebody can do flip burger much better than it can become a gymnastic stunt.
Yeah.
I saw that people I mean lots of Asian chefs.
Oh my gosh.
Like how they cook is just art.
And they can flick things into bowls and people's mouths. Yeah, it's crazy.
But that's, you mentioned a really bad or negative trait of people's mentality towards work is like, I only do what I ask for.
Yeah.
I will just, 5 p.m. is the cutoff time. I won't even stay for 1 second. That's not healthy. Do you think so? I mean, sure, you don't have to be I've sacrificed everything for my job.
No.
But for your own sake, you're already here and you have this opportunity to bring some changes or new stuff, creative stuff. Why not, right?
I think that's the difference is the following your passion and finding out what you're passionate about and then introducing that into that extra. Because once you do that, if you're staying 15 minutes, half an hour after work, but you're doing something that you really love, then it doesn't feel like you're staying extra for work. But I think that's a mental shift that some people have, some people don't. I mean, it's a learned thing, I think. I don't think it's something that you're born with.
We just talk all about workspace, but lots of content you written about probably is about like out of work time, like spare time.
Yes.
How did you utilize your spare time to write this book? Like, just be honest, how much time have you invested in this total?
I have no idea, but it's been a lot. The way that I've got a full-time job and then some. It's a it's a big, very demanding job. I'm a parent to a very active 13, almost 14-year-old. But I take time when I can. So most of the book was actually written either, she goes to ballet on Saturdays for like 5 hours. So I will, I'll sit outside her ballet studio in the hall that the office staffers have affectionately called my office now, because I sit there in the corner and I write. So and it's really good for me because it's a solid 5-hour block, because she does a lot of ballet.
A
5-hour block where I can just write.
Long.
Yeah, it is a long day, but it's great because I'm isolated. I'm in my zone and I can just write. So I got a lot done there. And then the other major time it was written was she has a loft bed. So she has a bed with a little desk under it. And I used to sit under her bed.
Bunker bed.
Yeah. Right. And she had a desk under it. So I'd sit under a bed and I would work there. So when she went to bed at about 8:39, I'd go to bed and I'd be talking to her. She'd fall asleep and I'd keep working. And, when I was in the height of this, I was working, maybe 2 or 3 hours a night on it when I was in the zone for it.
Yeah.
But it was funny because then I had to go on a trip. And my husband, my daughter said, "Daddy, you need to come in here and sit under the bed and make a noise because I can't go to sleep now unless I can hear typing under the bed."
Oh, so that's funny. It's like a couple, like you snore, right? Well,
yeah,
you need that.
Yeah. Now she needs the typing, but it was good too because I found out from a friend that she had said how inspired she was that I was putting this much effort into something that was important to me. So without realising it, I was actually, I think, setting a good role model for her too. If you want something, you just make the time and you do it. So, I had to give up on watching Game of Thrones. I was watching at the time and I was saying to my...
Have you finished it?
No, I have now. But halfway through it was when I was doing this and I was saying to my husband, I cannot watch Game of Thrones because once I watch it, I'm going to watch 3 episodes.
Binge watch.
Yeah.
Binge watching, that's normal.
So so there was a choice there, but I was trying to balance it. I mean, it's great that I get to work when Gabby's at ballet because she feels like I'm there. She comes and we have lunch. So she feels very supported with me there, and I get a lovely block of time that I can work.
Yeah, and
But
then
it's just choice.
Probably you can even take a break, right, and see her a while and then wave to
Yep,
her.
and then go back and work.
Yeah. But still, that take lots of, stamina. Like things happen in life, and we got so busy. But you have to allocate time in advance, right? You just say, okay, I'm just going to do this no matter what. Otherwise, it's hard to follow. I mean, so many people have a New Year resolution, but they barely follow up. We talk about that. I think you give me a really great analysis about it. It's like why people couldn't stick to their goal is because the goal probably are set by other people's standard. Probably it's not your own real passion.
Yeah.
Can you dig in that aspect more? I just feel that's a great insight.
Thank you. I, like most other people, have set New Year's resolutions over the years.
Losing weight.
You're losing weight, getting fit, not drinking. Not that I drink much anyway, but not drinking. Yeah. So people set all these goals, but they're not necessarily something that they're inside passionate about. Because if they were inside passionate about it, they probably wouldn't have to set New Year's Eve goals, to be honest.
So it's not good to have just remove a bad habit using this. Probably this won't help them at that aspect.
If it works, go for it. But I know that it's much easier to be committed and make decisions if it's something that you want to do. It's a passion that you have, and you get joy and energy and excitement out of doing it. That makes a difference. I don't necessarily get excitement out of going to the gym or doing all of these things. Some people do, and that's awesome. And that can be their 10%
Those
project.
Those people
and their
can just stick to their plan.
But they probably go there, and it's probably not a New Year's resolution.
They don't need that resolution to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we talk about is like people, it's more like a negative way because they think, I have so many bad habits I want to get rid of. And I want to stick into some good habits. But that habit is probably not what you desire for. And you specifically basically saying this 10% time and endeavor actually deliver happiness for the people who are doing this. Is that true?
Yes, that's my hypothesis and belief.
But
yes.
How do you feel happier when you do this?
100%.
Describe that feeling, like a sneak under the bunker bed.
It is. It's exciting.
Exciting.
Like the day that I uploaded that and hit publish on it on Amazon, it was the best feeling. Now, I'm nervous because it's like, what if people read it and think it's awful? But at the end of the day, it's like, it was something I was doing for me because I'm passionate about it and I care about it. And I'm hoping one person might read it and get some value out of it. And they have. I haven't sold a lot because I don't actively market it because I've got a full-time job. But even for the small readership I've had, there have been people who have reached out to me and said, wow, thanks, that really made a difference, and I've done this and I've achieved this. And so that's super cool. And that's what makes me happy. But I just get joy out of doing it. And it's crazy. Like I was saying earlier that the 10% project was literally my 10% project that I was doing on the side.
Yeah.
And it's actually unfolded exactly the way a 10% project should. I've picked up so many skills from how to publish a book, edit a book, get an ISBN number for a book, how to, just how to design it, how to typeset it, like all of these things.
So you designed the whole thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
And even you are your own editor?
Yep.
Have you ever need somebody to do anything? On this project? No?
That is 100% me.
Oh.
Which is why I do have a bit of the imposter syndrome happening, because it is something I just did. I didn't ask permission. I didn't get approvals. I didn't have a budget. It was just me and my laptop under my daughter's bed at her ballet lessons writing a book. But, since this has happened, I've presented at big companies, at San Jose Chamber of Commerce, and today, actually, it went live for enrollment. I'm teaching a course on it at Stanford Continuing Education. And I'll be honest, that blows my mind, that this thing that I just thought, I'm going to write it because I want to and I've got something to say and it's important to me and I'm going to do it, is meaningful enough that an institution like Stanford has said, we want you to teach a course on it.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what will happen with it. I don't know. I'm hoping I get enough people enrolled that it goes forward and it isn't cancelled. But just the fact that I've gotten there is such a, like, I would never in my wildest dreams have been able to foresee what has happened since the girl came up to me at the end of a presentation I made and said, oh, you should write a book on that concept. I love that.
I think that's just a natural consequence or the result of your continuous efforts. For sure, I think people will be motivated just simply by the fact that small amount of a dopamine hit, right?
Yeah,
like,
yes.
But writing it, like you said, you probably need to be motivated, feel like I want to write it now, like I have a time like 2 hours later. That's the time I'm looking for, right?
Yeah.
Then that becomes your little dopamine hit. But for most of people, they couldn't envision that. They think, yeah, that's just so hard, and I don't even want to do it. Then you simply just naturally couldn't do it.
Yes.
But once you hit the bigger goal, probably it's a dopamine rush, right? It's feel like, oh yeah, but it's still temporary. It will last probably not a long time.
Yeah.
Then from that moment on, you start to formulate the future plans, little steps, like you can see it clearer.
I can't emphasize enough how important it is, the little steps, as you said. Because if you think about the big goals, it can stop you from ever making a start. It's too big, I'll never
Too
get it done, I haven't got
right?
time, it's overwhelming, it's stressful, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I've never written a book, therefore I can't do it. It's like, but if you just take the next little step, like, oh, I'm going to write an outline. Oh, I'm going to write the introduction. Oh, I'm going to design the logo for the cover. Because that's what I tend to do first, because I've got the kind of a marketing design background. I tend to design the logo and the cover first. But it's just those little tiny steps that don't take a lot of time, that aren't very risky, that aren't hard to do, and you just accumulate more and more and more knowledge.
And I think with today's AI's help, I think it's a big help. They said that in the future there will be lots of, they call it what? Like super individuals. Like
who can do...
Going back for 10 years, it's hard to imagine one person like you can just, without any other professional help, and publish a book without any professional assistant, right?
Yeah.
And in the future, the possibility will be just about everything.
Oh my
everything,
gosh, yes.
right? You want a company, you can just create a company by yourself, probably, because the knowledge, information are so easy to acquire.
Yeah.
But then what differentiates you from other is the inner drive and the
the passion you bring to it. So it's fascinating because I've obviously been spending a lot of time thinking about this, and a friend last year told me about a psych theory called the
You mean psychological theory?
Yeah.
Okay.
So called this self-determination theory. And that is like not to get too psychology based on it, but they say you have to be happy, to be fulfilled and be motivated and be happy. You have to have three criteria. One is to have autonomy.
Autonomy.
One is competency, and one is relatedness. And if you've got if those three needs are being satisfied, then you've got a much higher chance of being happy. And I was really excited about this because in relation to a 10% project, you're choosing something that you want to do, that you're passionate about. So that's the autonomy. Nobody's telling you what to do or how to do it. So that's inherently going to increase motivation. competency, when you're doing a 10% project, you're learning things because it's designed to kind of stretch you into areas you haven't done before. So you're increasing your competency. And then another important piece of a 10% project is the network that you build and the people that you talk to who are in the space. And that's the relatedness. So I was really excited about that because I certainly didn't write it knowing about this theory of motivation. But once I saw the theory of motivation, I compared it to the 10% project. It was like, oh my gosh, that explains it. That explains why I get so excited and I'm so happy when I'm doing it. There's actually a psychology theory underlying that makes it make sense.
So you mentioned that before the podcast recording, you said you met some professional professors. Actually, they study in this field.
Yeah, so I haven't met them yet. Actually, this only happened this morning. But over the weekend, the self-determination theory was actually written by two gentlemen called Deci and Ryan. And I had reached out to, I think it's Robert Ryan, but Richard Ryan. I reached out to him and emailed him and said, I've created this Stanford continuing education study workshop that leans heavily into the self-determination theory that you co-authored. And I want to do a study on it, and I've got all these ideas. I was wondering whether I could send you an overview and get your thoughts on the alignment and see if it makes sense. So he emailed me back this morning, which obviously had me very excited. And he said, yeah, sure,
dopamine rush.
Email me and send me a link. So, so that's what I did this morning at like 7 a.m. because he's in Australia, which is even more of a happy coincidence.
Hometown.
So this morning I emailed him and said, this is a page that I drew showing the alignment between the 7 steps of a 10% project and the self-determination theory. I'd love to hear what you think of it. So I'm waiting to hear back now. So if I was checking my email on the side, you would know that I can't wait to hear because I'm hoping, I don't know, he might say, you're crazy, or he might say, this is a really good idea. Let's talk more. I don't know.
But how are you going to manage your own expectation? Because
I know.
For sure, seems opportunity presents itself, but we human beings can play tricks in our mind too. Like we can expect a lot. Like probably I can tour with this guy and promote the whole theory, and I'll be a
oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought of that. That's a great idea. Thanks.
Yeah, put that in your mind, and you can never forget it, right? But that's a very real thing. Yeah. It's like expectation means almost everything because I think people don't live in presence. We live in expectation, or because we live for that uncertainty, the hope we have drives us.
Yeah,
or you call it dream.
Yeah.
But it's never certain. If it's certain, it's boring. It's just like organizing the shelf in a library. We don't want that.
No, you don't want that.
That certainty is too much. It's like 100% certainty. That's not how we live.
Yeah.
We live actually for that uncertainty. Then how you manage that?
I think, so number one, I'm a huge believer if a door shuts here, a window will open over there. So,
that's a Christian idea.
And I know myself that I am super hyped right now that I'm going to hear from him. But I'm also a very resilient optimist. I mean, if I don't hear from him, if it doesn't happen, I know that tomorrow I'm going to think of something else that I'll be super excited about, and then I won't worry so much about that. So I think that almost a naive. I'm always excited about what is happening at the moment, and of course, everything doesn't work out.
Right.
But even if it doesn't, it's, I'm still learning along the way. Like I had no idea self-determination theory even existed 6 months ago.
It just naturally aligned your thought very well, right?
Yeah. But I'm very much in the imagine if. Like, imagine if he responded to my email. Well, he did. Imagine if he thinks I've got a good idea. Imagine if he wants to co-author a study with me on it. And I can imagine if more things than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So, and if I do enough, I used to have a boss actually who said you have to have lots and lots of great ideas and it only takes one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because maybe those many are not great ones. You just think it's great.
Yeah.
But maybe one of them works, right? Just
Yeah.
like, I think somebody said, I forgot, it's either Jordan Peterson or somebody else. It's like we live in a perceived boundary, right?
Yeah.
And this inside is certainty, and we feel comfortable. Let's call it comfortable zone if
Yeah.
you need. But occasionally we want to shoot something out of this zone to see if it works. But most of the time, you're shooting at totally, you're aimless. First, you are aimless because you don't know where to aim.
Yes.
But
Oh
you
my
feel
gosh,
like
that's
there's
excellent.
something, I think there's something. Let me try it. But you don't want to step out 90% of your life, like overreach that thing.
Yeah, or
It's
blow up
too
your life.
risk, right? You would die. It would just simply go crazy.
Yes.
But with that 90% weight on there and lean forward just 10%. And you reach out to the uncertainty and it actually gives you more opportunity. Even it fails, it's a good try.
100%. That is exactly it. I think people get the perception sometimes that to try something different, they have to, completely change their life or blow up what they're doing or leave their job to go and do it. You don't.
Yeah, you don't do
You
that.
can just test a little bit, and maybe it'll pan out to something. Maybe you'll learn something on the way that'll take you a different direction.
Yeah.
But by testing, like doing little repeated steps, it gets you closer to where you want to be. It introduces you to new people, new skills, new experience, and that is priceless.
Yeah, probably it's not. You said three aspects of this self-determination. I think one of has to do with other people, right?
Yes.
Networking, what do you call that? Relive?
It was it's autonomy, so being able to make your own decisions.
Yeah.
Competency, or getting better at something, and relatedness, which is feeling supported by or part of a group or valued. So it's those three things. And if you've got those three things, this psychological theory says that you are more fulfilled and you're more motivated and ultimately happier.
Yeah, I think in every aspect is like try a little bit, but you cannot never try. You have to always try, like meet new people, but you don't meet a whole world of like you don't even know what they're doing, why you want to socialize with them, right? You just get out of every time step by step to get to the unknown.
And if people don't know what you're passionate about, if you keep all that inside and you never do anything that shows what you're passionate about, people don't know how to help you and they don't know how to connect you. Like even meeting you was because, a mutual friend knew what I was trying to do and you should talk too. That's how I got to Stanford. A mutual friend told somebody at Stanford, you two should talk. But it's only because they knew what my passion was and what my goal was and what I was trying to accomplish. So if you never give people any insight into that, they can't help you.
I know you have a vision board. That's the first time I heard this word. It's like somebody will actually put their vision on either a piece of paper or a real board. What did it look like? I can use that methodology.
I guess vision board is kind of a romantic description of it, but I have so many ideas and thoughts and I haven't got time to fit them all in my 10%. So basically I write things down because as one of my 10% projects ends, then I've got more in the pipeline. So on my vision board, as I say, I want to do a podcast in the future. I wanted to do a website, which I've done. I'd like to do coaching modules about it. I want to do an audiobook of my book that, my daughter's going to read the chapter about her. So I've got, I've just got all of the things that pop into my mind so I don't forget them and don't lose them. And that's actually something that's interesting too, is I have a folder on my computer. Whenever I come up with a 10% project, I've got ideas going back years that either haven't worked, they've failed, somebody told me that was a stupid idea. I mean, any number of things. But it's like, you know what? One day I might come back to that and that might be of value to me. So I never throw any ideas away. I just pop them in a folder because one day it might be the right time for that idea. So that's what I often say to people, like in a work environment. If they come up with a project that they want to do, assuming they're doing their day job really, really well, and they don't get the support, it's like, yeah, that's a shame, but either rework it so you get the support or put it in a drawer and come up with something else. Like, don't let it stop you. Just come up with something else.
Yeah, I think some creator, like poet, in Chinese, traditional Chinese poets, sometimes they have come up with just one line, but he or she doesn't know what it really means, or that doesn't even know what context it should be in, or right contextualization. No, it's just like, oh, this is beautiful. This sounds beautiful. They just write it down and put it in a jar.
Oh, wow, that's
amazing.
amazing.
And some days they have another subject. They have a clearer vision.
Yeah.
Then they feel like, oh, let me see what I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fit here perfectly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably that's not the way everybody create. But my point is, it's like it seems like nothing actually in our life. Once you put into your passion into it, you actually work for it. It never are wasted. It's not wasted, right? Mm-hmm. No matter the result, you actually achieve something even just by working towards that goal.
Absolutely, it does. And I mean, I can't, like, with this book, I have no idea whether it will ever, it's certainly not going to be on a New York best time selling list, I don't think. But
this time, probably not.
but maybe people will read it, maybe they won't. I mean, it's hard to tell, but the real value to me was that I did it and I accomplished it. It's certainly validating to me that I'm now doing a course on it. It's certainly validating to me that people are asking me back after I've done one presentation on the concept at their company. Like, all of that stuff is great, but it doesn't. I'm doing it really for fun. I'm not making any money from it. It's not really costing me any money because I did it all myself on my laptop at home under my daughter's bed.
That's a great.
But it's been fun and rewarding, and I've learned like an insane amount through the process of just doing all those small steps that took it from an idea to a published book. And that's been really valuable. And now I've got, if you looked in my computer, you'd see I've got covers for about another 3 books now that are in I'll get to that at some point, but I've got to do this and then this and
That's
then
normal.
this.
It's just like in the film industry, like, probably James Cameron.
Yes.
Who directed Titanic and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And when he wrote out the Avatar idea, like, people thought, like, this cannot be done. This is so stupid.
Crazy.
And who wants to see those blue figures? Like, they look ugly. And he wrote out not only the first one, he wrote out a bunch of them. And people still feel like that's impossible. And even when the first one got hugely commercially successful, people still don't think he can make more.
Yeah.
Look now, it's not that great movie, but it's still successful.
Hey, he's got a Disney ride named after it.
Yeah, the ride is pretty good, actually. Cool. And you still make lots of money.
Yeah.
So, stick to the plan, huh?
Yeah, and he obviously has passion around doing that. And
for sure.
He's been very fortunate. He's ended up doing what he loves. But I bet if you went back and back and back and back in his history, there were little things that he was doing that were the first step along the way that he did.
Yes,
that
did.
Ultimately unlocked. Like, even with, I was putting a video in my course the other day of Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
And I took an excerpt from his presentation, that a graduation speech he gave at Stanford at some point.
Steve Jobs.
Yes. And in that, he said when he dropped out of college, he took a course in calligraphy, so writing.
Calligraphy, I see.
And he said he didn't know it at the time, but he was really interested in it and was passionate about it. It was beautiful and historic and the spacing between letters. But it was that experience that ultimately drove, when he started the Macintosh and the design and all the fonts, that drove him to create a system that had beautiful font types and calligraphy and writing, which is the foundation of what we have now. And it's all...
Yeah, totally.
So, and it was something he did because he was passionate about it. He didn't know where it would lead, but it influenced, the entire universe ecosystem of computers. I mean, that's a big one, obviously. But
sure, yeah, that's a great story. Like how that company almost died and miraculously just go up and keep going up and up, and then become the most valuable company.
Yeah.
And it actually, so let's just talk about Apple a little bit, because so many people have already talked about it. You just mentioned it. Steve Jobs he had passion about those detailed aesthetic thing, right? And that's the gene of the company.
Yep.
Before he passed away, everything Apple created, we feel like, oh, this looks so strange but beautiful, right?
Beautiful design, yeah.
Yeah.
Magical, I think he used to say about a lot of things.
Yeah. Then on top of that, people already accept that. Like Apple can create the coolest techie stuff.
Yeah.
Then the touching screen, right? Then they feel like not only I have to make it look great, I have to feel great.
Yeah.
Then that's how it take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so passion.
Yeah.
Oh, one more thing. You said, I just stole that phrase from Steve Jobs. So we talk about that Maslow hierarchy.
Yes.
You said there is another layer on top of self-actualization.
Yes.
What is that?
So when I went to college, he only had the 5. And the top of that was, I think it goes self-esteem, and then self-actualization is the top layer.
Yeah.
But just before he died, he actually added, I think it's the 6th layer, might be the 7th. But anyway, the very top layer now is self-transcendence. I always have a mouthful saying that. But it's like, so in his self-actualization is being everything that you can be. And then self-transcendence is when you get to the point where you can give back to others. Mm. So that was like as he got older and just before he died, he actually added that, which I think a lot of people still think of Maslow the way I thought of it, with it ended to the top at
the top
self-actualization.
Self-actualization.
But now there's another layer. So if you Google it, you can see it.
It's so true because, from a Christian perspective, everything we have, no matter if you want or not, you will give them away. No matter it's fortune, no matter ideas or time, because you just have so many, and you cannot take away anything of them.
You're
right?
with you, yeah.
So the Christian idea is like you have to sacrifice everything for the highest possible good, which is God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, God, let's say, just it's the perfect idea, right? The best, the good, the beauty, and what's that? Truth, right?
Yeah.
So we actually live for those things, and once we fulfill our own need and even just pay off the debt when we are created, then what, right? There's another either doctrine or teaching. It's like love one another.
Yeah.
Love your neighbor. Why, right? Love God, that's enough, right? That's self-actualization, probably, in this sense. But without giving other people what you know or what you have, then you still feel empty.
Yeah.
So I think probably the deeper motivation or possibly the potential mission of your book or real passion is still to be revealed by your own life story.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is very true. And often when people, I mean, like, I don't know that I would call myself self-actualized for having written the book, but certainly I'm wanting to give back. Like, part of my passion for the book is I think that these stories and the realization I think I've had might be able to help other people who feel stuck, who feel like they haven't got permission to try something new or don't know how to start or think something is too big. So if some of those people I can reach and, I hear sometime in the future, my gosh, I heard what you were saying and I went out and I did a tiny step towards something I'd been thinking about, and then I took another step and then I took another step, and before I knew it, I was halfway there. That's going to, that makes me really happy, because I think so many people have so much potential and things that they can do, but they just never realize that.
But I also see other example is like people, I think they kind of self-deceive. They have this talent and they invest too much. Just still the same old topic. It's like they jumped out, right? They just maybe quit their job. They think they can be artists. Then, they are not that good to be an independent artist. They surely create lots of things, but they are not called for or demanded, and they couldn't sell their work, and they make their life really miserable.
Yeah, I mean there is that balance. I mean, part of that is, as long as and they make themselves miserable, I would say, is the important part of that sentence. Because if they're making art that nobody wants, as long as they are happy and are making a living and can take care of themselves, then maybe that's what they want to do, and I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I personally am probably a little more risk averse, so I like to have my job that I enjoy, which is paying the bills. And then when I have downtime or time that I can either watch a YouTube or watch Game of Thrones or work on my book, I choose to work on my book because it brings me joy and it makes me happy.
Yeah, I think 10% is a symbolic or rhetoric symbol there. But it means you still have to be reliable.
Yes.
You still have to be responsible for your own life and your the environment, either workplace, family. Take up those things first.
Yes. You have to be doing your core job, whether that's an employee or as a parent or as a caregiver, whatever that core job is, you have to do that really, really well first. And then, at least that's my philosophy and my approach, as long as you're getting the core stuff done, that makes it easier for you to go and do the things that you love to do in the spare time that you have. And maybe, doing those things on the side in your spare time will eventually unlock a way that you can make revenue from that, and you can then put more and more time into that. Like I did with my shelf checking, going to the kids' storytelling. It's like, if you can create value in an area that you're passionate about, that's so much an easier way to make a living than if you're doing something that you're not passionate about.
Yeah.
So I'm all about try and take small steps.
Yeah.
Don't blow up your life.
Yes.
Don't throw your job in and go and do something.
Yeah.
Do little tiny steps in the 10% of your time that you can scrape out and test. Do test and learn and fail and learn from it.
Yeah, so 10%, that's the secret. That's a measurement for you to reference, right?
Yes.
And it's just a test of your own, let's say, faith. Faith, because it's something you have not achieved, but you think you probably will achieve.
Yes.
So test it with that amount of, you decide, right? Either 9 or 15, or as long as you don't mess up your life or other people's life.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like even, I mean, in the faith community, let's say the what do you call that? The the giveaway money. I think there's a term for that, right?
I was just going to raise that. It's a perfect
cool.
segue.
Yeah.
Because, so in Judaism, in Christianity, in all of these different religions, there's a thing called tithing, which is the money that you're talking about. And you know what the root word of tithing is?
10%?
10%!
Yeah, that's
and I think,
biblical.
I think that's because it's enough. It's enough that it's a sustainable effort. It doesn't it doesn't undermine everything else you're doing in your world.
Right.
It's 10% is a sustainable effort, but it's also enough that it can make a difference.
And it also has to be consistent because that's the
Yes.
test. That's the trial of your faith.
But if you're passionate about
Right.
it,
Yeah, you will do it.
it's a lot easier.
It just occurred to me, like Jesus lived for 33 years old, right? Then he's being a missionary, let's say, or the Son of God, the identity, Messiah. That's probably 3 years. That's about 1/10 of his life.
Whoa!
Yeah, so that's 10% is really just maybe a little divine figure. I don't even know. I'm just
That's
kidding.
crazy.
Just kidding. I just want to end it with a really warm message and thank you, Susan
Thank you
or
so much
Sue,
for having
right,
me.
to share this. I hope you have a great success with your 10% project.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on my first ever podcast. So thank you.